Akebulan. You see, today let's talk about Queen Victoria. Because so many people celebrate Queen Victoria. Because they have heard so much about Queen Victoria. But the question remains, do you know as little as you have heard about Queen Victoria? It is pertinent and imperative that we talk about this queen. In as much as she is not an Akebulan queen, but her influence still has a place in our continent. Because we have so many landmarks. We have so many institutions. We have so many places named after Queen Victoria. But yet, have we taken time to examine what was our contribution in the continent of Akebulan? Best scrupulous attention. The voice of the ancestors, the voice of the continent is about to educate you. Who was Queen Victoria? You see, Queen Victoria was born on the 25th of May, 1819. She ruled Britain for over 63 years. Under her leadership, a lot happened. She became the Queen of England on the 20th of June, 1837, succeeding her uncle, King William V. She passed on in the month of January 22nd, 1901. When she died, her people mourned her. But so many people in Akebulan had a breath of fresh air because her leadership pressed the whole lot of neck of our ancestors. Akebulan, what was her contribution? Queen Victoria, she was beautiful, no doubt. But was her leadership beautiful in the continent of Akebulan? Some historians will argue that she did what was best for our continent. But what was best for our continent? Was it best for Akebulan? Let's take insight to what happened. You see, under her leadership, Nigeria was sold for £865,000 by George Tubman Golden in 1900. She was the one that gave royal charter to George Goldie for her company, Royal African Company, to take the exclusive right of what became as Nigeria in the year 1886. But her influence did not stop in Nigeria, because in East Africa, the Imperial British East African Company was also given a royal charter by this woman, so they can expand British influence in East Africa. And if you think that is enough, no, it's not enough. It did not stop in East Africa, because even in the place you know today as Zimbabwe and Zambia, she gave a royal charter to Cicely Rhodus in the year 1889. She gave him a royal charter to control that territory today. And that was why they control Zimbabwe and named the territory after themselves. He named it Rhodesia. How dare you name our father's land after your name? But thank God for leaders who said, no, we will change it. We will change it to Zimbabwe. Under her leadership, we fought the Ashanti War in the year 1874. Under her leadership, our Queen Mother, Ya Asantewa, refused that the British Empire would take our golden stool. Under her leadership, Lagos, that you know as the commercial nave and hub of Nigeria, was bombarded for 5 days in 1851. Oba Kosoko was taken out and Oba Akitoye was reinstated. She sent for naval warship HMS Samson, HMS Water Witch, HMS Brownhund, and HMS Tiza to bombard our ancestors. Oh, the ancestors remember. Under her leadership, the Ekumeku fighters fought in 1883 to 1914 for over 31 years. Our warriors were fighting the British forces under her leadership. This woman, leadership, our ancestors were bombarded, our ancestors were fought. Today, she has so many places named after her. She has so many institutions named after her. Because even in the year 1855, one of their own, John Hanning Speke, named the most beautiful lake in our continent after her, Lake Victoria. A lake in Africa was named after her, even though she never stepped her foot in Africa. Even the falls in Africa was named after her by David Livingstone. They call it Victoria Fall. She never stepped into Africa. If you go to Nigeria in Lagos, you have Victoria Island named after her. A mark that she defeated the territory. What an insult to our ancestors at Kebelan. What an insult that we name our places after people who subdued our ancestors. And the question remains at Kebelan. Modern day Tankroya is not a preacher of hate. I'm a preacher of love. At the same time, I'm a preacher of inclusivity. But most importantly, I'm a preacher of ownership. I'm a preacher of ownership at Kebelan. Because we must understand that until we begin to name our places over our own people, our own queen, and our own warriors, we will never get it right at Kebelan. We will never get it right. Because charity must begin at home. And Kebelan must begin to name her places over her people. So this is not historical hostility. Neither is this historical negativity. This is historical clarity. Because history is history. And we must approach and study history with all honesty. And honesty demands that we call a spade as much as we call a spare a spare. Kebelan, own it. We must name our places after us. We must name places in Africa after African queens and kings and warriors and great thinkers. Our places must not reflect those who subdued our ancestors. Because think about it. What do you think our ancestors would think when they look at us and see that we name our daughters, our places, our precious landmarks after people who intimidated and took over their lands by force? Wisdom, Kebelan. Wisdom is the principal thing.